You also talk about, obviously, the sobriety thing.
I'm over 600 days now. I didn't do it for drinking, really. It was more, I was quite bad with drugs every time I went out. And the estate that I grew up in was quite bad for that. And it's just sort of the environment I grew up in, that's what it was. I was struggling with the business, but I wasn't struggling. It's just I was spending 3 days hungover and not wanting to do anything. And I got up to, I think, the most I had was like 25 people about a year ago. And there was days where I'm not interested. Like on I'm putting everything off on a Friday because I want to go out. And then Monday comes around and I put everything off Friday. So I've got people, and I'm not interested. And when you've got that many people out on site and you're just not answering the phone for 2 days, it started taking a massive effect. So I was just like, I'm just going to take a gap away from drinking. And I've done it for a little while. And then I was just sort of thinking, I've got more energy. I've got more desire to actually do something because I'm not hungover. And I was really bad for being hungover. I'd turn my phone off and just 3 days not want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And I started noticing the days I was saving and I was putting that into the business. I was like, oh, this is actually like working well.
Do you help people individually, or would you want to do that?
So I have been. I started off just helping friends because, like I say, I was doing it with my uncle, and everyone was like, when you lose that amount of weight, I was getting random messages of people I haven't seen for years, like, how did you do it? And everyone's after a secret, and there isn't one. So I was just helping people, and then I run 3 coaching programs over the last sort of 6 months on one-to-one, and then I've got a group one at the minute. So I am doing it, and I really do enjoy helping people. What I don't enjoy is helping people that don't want to be helped. Every opportunity I've ever had, usually in the building thing, like I've managed to put myself in rooms with some big companies and walk out of there with massive contracts, and I know that once I want to do that, I can do that, and I took the contracts and we've done the work, and I know I can do that. I just always felt like I was in the wrong opportunities. Like I didn't actually want to do that, and that's why I'm getting so good at making the videos with the characters, because they're not characters; they're just people that I've had work for me and worked alongside for so long.
Welcome to Off the Job.
I'm eating.
It's a very professional podcast we're on. Today we've got a special guest, Daryl from Dr. Robinson's Fat Loss.
See, everyone keeps saying Dr. Robinson, and it's actually...
Oh shit, I've done it wrong again.
No, I know, but do you know how many people I'm getting that?
What is it?
What?
What is it? DR
It's
Robinson.
D. Robinson, but that's just my initial.
I can't help it.
And do you know what? So many people have messaged me as well and be like, are you a doctor? I'm like, no, I didn't even realise that that's what I was putting. But I'm not taking it down because it seems to be helping me with...
Well, it does, doesn't it? Because he's got you here, innit, mate? 'Cause
Yeah, we thought you was a
we
doctor.
thought you was a doctor. Shit. We wanted to know what fucking university you went to and everything. No, but yeah, D. Robinson,
There we go.
Fat Loss on Instagram. Exploded, man.
Yeah, it's doing all right.
Yeah. It's going to come from nowhere. It's overtaking me now. I'm like, fucking hell, what's going on here?
Everybody keeps telling me it's coming from nowhere as well. And I'm like, I've been posting videos for like about, I think 10 months now. Just been posting. But I was doing, what it basically was just a lot of my fat loss stuff, because I was obviously a tradesman and I was huge. I was over 22 stone and I was just struggling with it. And I just started losing weight, and I was like, oh, I actually saw somebody else post about it first. So I was like, oh, I wonder how they did it. And someone I knew.
Yeah.
So I messaged him, he'd lost like 5 stone. I said to him, how did you do it? So he gave me some tips and things like that. And then when I started losing weight as well, I was like, oh, I should probably do that as well, because that's what I saw from him and that's what made me do it. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to share that.
Yeah, inspire, innit?
Yeah, and then so he'd done like I think it was just a picture of him with some text and stuff like that. And I'd done a video, and I think my personality come across in the video, and then I was getting a lot of feedback from that. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing this, and I was sharing stuff as I went.
Yeah.
And then, and nobody was watching it. So it was fine. And then I realised the ones that were putting up that had a bit of humour in them were getting more views, and then more people were seeing the fat loss, and I was able to help more people. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep bringing different sides of my personality in. And then one day I was just sitting there and done one app, because a lot of the time, because I'm at work all the time, I was like, oh, I can't really film these reels because we're at work. And I was like, okay, how can I get around that? And I was like, I'll just bring that into it. I'll just bring the work stuff in. And I did that, and we made one video, and it went viral straight away. And I was like, oh, Jesus, like, that's probably what we should be doing. And then from that just led into, I've basically just been making characters. Like, if you was in my inner circle, you could pick each one of these characters and allocate them to one of the people that either works for me or has worked for me previously. So they're very easy for me to do, because it's not like I'm at home trying to write. I'm just like, oh, what things have annoyed me in the last 6 weeks, and how do I bring that to life? So, yeah, and it's mad now the amount of engagement I'm having from it, and it's now helping like other sides of my business and the fat loss stuff. So
yeah, well, it's all relatable stuff, isn't it? We all meet them people in day-to-day life, and because of the like, we're on site, we meet the customers, and I'll do exactly the same thing on my stuff a lot of the times. You know what I mean? Because it's just like everybody has met one of them people. So I think you're onto something when you.
I didn't know that there was. So the 30-year-old labourer was the one I done first, and I was with my cousin, and we had someone working for us, and I was like, he's getting on my nerves. So I'm going to make a video about this. I was like, there's so many things that he does every single day, and I'm like, there must be other people that are doing this as well. So I was like, I'm just going to make one. And he said to me, no, I don't think there's that many of these people around. You just attract them. And I was like, there must be, because we get them all the time. And when I put the video up, and we was like, oh, okay. And I'm used to putting videos up when they were getting maybe 4,000 or 5,000 views at a push after like 3 or 4 days. And we put the video up, finished the job, drove home, and it had 500,000 views. And I was like, oh my God. And so many comments were like, I'm getting this. And then I just took that from there. I've done another one. And then I was like, oh, I wonder what other characters people have got. And then obviously once I got into the swing of that, I was just like, oh, I've now got notes on my phone with just hundreds of characters that I've met and things that have happened and customers and like, I don't know, I've been branching out into all sorts of stuff now. I've just found that I'm actually quite good at observational comedy. So now I'm sort of leaning that in. I've been doing couples ones. I've done a ULEZ one. And yeah, it seems like everything that I'm sort of aiming at them and it seems to be all right. So I found a little blueprint for what's working for me and what brings my personality across. So
yeah, no, it's all good, mate. It's all good. So you're obviously interested in comedy. Is that something you'd want to pursue, do you think?
I don't actually know. I keep getting asked this question, and it wasn't something that I ever thought of, but I am enjoying that now more than anything else, and bringing the humour into like the fat loss. Like when I make a fat loss video now or sobriety, one of the things that I've managed to bring the humour into that. And that's now getting hundreds of thousands of views, and I'm getting so many messages from that. Yeah. So I feel like humour is definitely a way to bring up any sort of subject and shed light on it. So I am interested in it. I've never really, I don't know, it's not really something I've ever considered. But lately, I've had loads of messages, of people like, would you like to come and do a pilot episode of this and this?
Yeah,
and this?
yeah.
And at first I was like, no. And then the more I keep getting asked, I'm like, actually, I'm interested in it a little bit now. So I've spoken to a couple of people lately with some things that they want to do, and it has interested me. I just don't really know much about it. Like, I was just a little guy that had a building company that didn't really know what it was doing.
You just roll with it, mate. Do you know what I mean? You don't know where it's going to take you. I think I'd do it. I'd be straight on it if anyone asked me, but obviously I ain't funny enough.
So you're a builder now?
Yeah, so I've got, I was saying before we started, I've got I had a refill company. I basically started, I used to do underpinning with a company I worked for when I was like 15, 16. And then I got to about 23 and I think it was 22, 23. I just had a kid and I was running the jobs from about the age of 20 and I was surrounded by people in their 40s who were on more money than me, and I'm running the jobs, and I was looking around and my dad worked there, my uncles worked there, and like I said, they're 20 years ahead of me and they're on a tiny little bit more money, and I was like, do I really want to be doing this in 20 years time? And I didn't, so I was like, I'm just going to go on my own. And spoke to my boss and he was like, yeah, fair enough, I thought you was going to leave ages ago, to be fair. So yeah, sort of give me his blessing a bit. And then I just started I didn't have a vehicle, I had no tools, I had nothing. And I just started doing that. And I managed to build up, we had a refill company, me and my brother. And I was doing that up until COVID. And then obviously that just sort of sent everything downwards. But I had a contract as well at the time with a fire safety company. And their work went up for some reason. I don't know what actually happened around that, but all of their work just picked up. I think there was the Grenfell fire a few years before as well. And they're a fire safety company. So I don't know if it was budgets or whatever, but all of a sudden their work just went mad. So we just leaned into that. So pretty much at the minute, we do all of their reactive maintenance and decorating, and all they do is install the fire safety stuff. Yeah. And then anything that they cause damage wise or has to be done along the way, we do all of that for them. So still doing that at the minute, but I've got it to a point where I don't need to be there all of the time. I mean, I still get dragged in. That's why I was here last week when I said I was going to, every now and then I still get dragged into, because a lot of it is reactive. So if something happens, then I do get dragged into it, but I am now more focused on doing stuff like this and the social media stuff, but I have still got that, and it's hard to let go of it because it pays all my bills.
You need the bread and butter.
Yeah, it pays,
don't you?
It
you
pays
have got to be careful though. Is your main work come from them?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. The main source of it. So Yeah, and I don't want to ever cut that off because I've had
Yeah.
it for about 8 years now, and it pays everything. I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
It gives me the opportunity to go and do stuff like this or
Yeah.
whatever it is I want to do. I've always had something else going on. It's never just been that business. I've always had something what I'm doing, and without that, it'd make it a lot more difficult because then you're sort of thinking, how am I getting paid for this? Whereas now I don't earn any money from anything social media wise, and I'm not intended to really yet. So I'm just enjoying getting my name out there, and I think that's probably another reason why I'm getting so much engagement because I'm not like, hey, buy this or I'm advertising this, or I'm not doing that, and I think that's probably part of it. So yeah, right now I'm happy to keep that and to do this stuff on the side, and it's allowing me to do that. And like you say, I don't really know where it's going to take me, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause when
just-
you're in
just-
it, you don't really know, do you?
just
Like,
keep on the ride, innit?
yeah,
You know what I
I'm
mean?
enjoying it. It's not like I'm
Yeah.
not enjoying it. I like making the videos.
When
I like
you-
getting the engagement.
If you don't enjoy it, then stop, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If it's becoming more of a task or like a burden to
But
you,
sometimes it does end up being a business, so it creates that more of a responsibility to
Yeah.
like do things. But
But there is, so I try and post every day, and there's some days where if I'm out on site and we're busy and I can't do it, there's some days I've got to make a reel, and them ones never do as well because I'm always just like, trying to force something through, and like the creativity isn't there. So I do try, and if I've got a day, I'll try, like today, I'll probably try and do 2 or 3 of them if I can, so that on the off days, and I can just still put them up. But other than that, I enjoy it. I enjoy making them. I enjoy writing them and thinking of them, and and the engagement as well. I do enjoy. Like one of my videos, just the comments alone, I was literally watching them for like 4 or 5 hours just laughing because there's so many stories and that people have got across the trades, and it's like a little mini platform that people have been using. So I'm enjoying that too.
Yeah, well, people share their ideas on there as well, so you can pick up off of them, can't you?
Oh, I've
And
had
actually-
videos written by people. Like
Yeah,
literally,
yeah.
someone who would send me a thing like, you should do this, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So like 20 minutes, and they're like, oh, you're a genius. I'm like, I didn't think of that one.
But that's where it comes from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Comedy comes from other people's experiences as well. It's not just you being like the comedian. You're actually there. You're sitting there. I think Mickey Flanagan said it. He's like, the comedian is the one who's not telling the jokes and all that. He's observing. He's observing it all, and he's taking it all in, and then he puts it onto something like what you are, and there's your comedian. So, but you also talk about obviously the sobriety thing. So you
Yeah, so I'm over 600 days now, and I didn't do it for drinking really. It was more, I was quite bad with drugs every time I went out. The estate that I grew up in was quite bad for that, and it's just sort of the environment I grew up in. That's what it was. And it wasn't until I sort of, so it was the work was sort of dragged me out of it because I got really decent contracts, like a couple of £1 million contracts, and put me in a room with people that weren't from the same background as me, and I'm having meetings with them and stuff like that, and get to know them in a bit, and it sort of opened up a different sort of, I don't know, a circle of people. I'm not saying using drugs in that situation, but it's not the same place that I'm coming from. And my missus as well was, even though she's sort of from that background, she isn't now. So it sort of opened my eyes up to it. And then I just started, I was struggling with the business, but I wasn't struggling. It's just I was spending 3 days hungover and not wanting to do anything. And I got up to, I think the most I had was like 25 people about a year ago. And there was days where I'm not interested. Like on I'm putting everything off on a Friday because I want to go out. And then Monday comes around and I put everything off Friday. So I've got people met and I'm not interested. And when you've got that many people out on site and you're just not answering the phone for 2 days, it started taking a massive effect. So I was just like, I'm just going to take a gap away from drinking. And I've done it for a little while. And then I was just sort of thinking, I've got more energy. I've got more desire to actually do something because I'm not hungover. And I was really bad for being hungover. I'll turn my phone off and just 3 days not want to talk to anyone. And I started noticing the days I was saving and I was putting that into the business. I was like, oh, this is actually like working well. And then it just got to the point I was like, I think I'm actually done with it. So I did go out we didn't have a works do at Christmas. I don't know if it was because of COVID or I didn't have any money. I don't know. But there was one at 2021. We didn't have a Christmas works do. So come around to the summer and I said to the boys, we'll do a summer one. Like we'll go up to London. We'll just go into beer garden. And we did that. And it got really messy. And we ended up, a couple of them had a hotel because they live a bit further away. So I got my hotel and we ended up back there till 5 a.m. They'd been fighting and there was drugs everywhere. And like, I was just looking around and I just thought, I'm actually done with this now.
Yeah.
Like, I remember sitting in the hotel room at like 4 a.m. just looking around me and I was like, and some of the boys that work for me are like 18, 19, 20 and I'm 34 now and I was like, I think I'm actually done here. Like, and that was it. That was the last day I had a drink. So I
It
used
just
to
becomes repetitive, doesn't it?
and
Like, all the time.
it is repetitive. It's the same, like
same stuff,
once
same
you get
story,
to 30 years old, you're not really making any new memories.
No,
Like
no,
you're not.
yeah.
You might think you are,
Nah.
but you're still talking to the same people.
Same, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
I see. I think it might have been Jimmy Carr podcast with the CEO one. He said basically it's about making memories in it. So you can do the same thing, like go to work every day on the train, and you for 10 years, but that would be one memory. Same with drinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go out every week doing the same thing.
Yeah. There isn't, and everybody thinks it's boring. This is the biggest, because when I'm helping people, I help a lot of people to try and get through it now, and everyone thinks it's a drinking problem, and it isn't. I personally believe it's literally a boredom problem, because when I started doing it, my first thing was like, if I'm not drinking, what am I going to do? Like, what am I actually going to do? And it's so mad to think now, because my life now, I've done 600 days, but if I go back over them 600 days and write down all the things I've done since then and compare them to the last 10 years, I've done so much more now. And I genuinely, that was my biggest thing. I said to my missus, like, what do I actually do? Like, where do I go if we're not doing it? And then I just started doing weird shit. So I went to go-karting. We just, me and my missus, I was like, what can we do Friday? And I just literally typed in Google. I can't remember. I was like, cool things to do or something like that. I can't remember what I wrote in. But there was a go-karting track just like 20 minutes down the road. So we just went go-karting on a Friday. And I remember being in the go-kart, just whizzing around. And I come out of it, and not once did I think, oh, I want to have a beer or anything like that, because I was enjoying that. And now when I'm trying to help people, they're like, oh, I come home and I have a couple of beers in an evening and stuff like that. Like, how do I stop that? I'm like, you need something to do, because you're coming home, or you either had a shit day, or you're bored, or you've got nothing there. And if you find something to fill that, because in an evening, like by the time I get home from work, have dinner, have a shower, you've got maybe a couple of hours. If you just fill that with something that you want to do instead of drinking, and you start doing it that way, I just think that's what it really is. It's not really a drinking problem. You're using the drinking just to curb. I genuinely think it's boredom. I think and it's the same for Friday, because you're so used to just going, oh, I'm going to see the boys on Friday, because it's a social thing as well, isn't it? For me, I've now tried to surround myself, because for years I was just surrounding myself with people that want to be in the pub until it closes, and then go back to someone's house and things like that. Yeah. Whereas now I'm trying to surround myself with people, so I've still got a social life. So we go bike riding and things like that.
Yeah.
And at first everyone was like, no, like I tried to drag people like I already know into bike riding and going on walks, and they're like, no, you're all right. And then eventually I found people that are kind of like me, that are a bit further ahead, and then just latched onto them. So I think that's where I'm at with it now. And I don't think I'll drink again, because I don't see the benefits now. Like the benefits I had before, like I say, was a social thing, and to give me like a personality that I was trying to have. And I realised now, after not drinking for so long, that I already had that personality. It wasn't at the surface, and now I just brought it out. For me, it's just saying hello. I always find it really hard just walk in the room and just be like, hiya, like, how are you? And when you're drinking, that doesn't happen. Like you can just talk to anyone. Yeah. And then once I realised that I'm not talking to everyone because I'm drunk, it's just because I've got past that initial first bit of just saying hello. So I just started doing that. And it's just, my confidence has gone so sky high now, because I realised that I don't actually need to drink for that. And now every single situation I go into, like, I'm all right with it. I've flown all around the world now to go to things like this and to events and things like that, and I haven't drunk on any of them. And I would never have done that before. Like, I wouldn't even go to a wedding with half of a family that I didn't know without having a beer first, to try and be this person that I thought everyone wanted me to be. Yeah. And really, now I've stopped doing that, everyone's like, nah, you're a prick. Like, no one wanted you to be that. And it ain't until after you come out of that, like, I started realising, oh, actually, like, now I look at people and I'm like, I used to be so much worse than that. And I can see everyone judging them from around them. But when you're in that frame of mind, you don't really see that. You just think, I thought I was the man, and I wasn't. I just only in my eyes. And
but that giving that up, that sobriety, and you're now, like you say, 600 days without it, you've actually come out of another confidence, didn't you, in what you're doing. On here, this is the quietest we've been for a while, because you're so engaging. You know what I mean? It's brilliant. It's brilliant, so that we don't have to have any awkward silence in there, and you're going into what you do, and you're passionate about it, and at the same time, you're going to inspire others to think about what they're doing with their lives. Because you're right. If you're sat in a hotel room at 4:00 in the morning, you're looking around at people, and you think to yourself, I've had them moments. I've had them moments as well where I look at myself and I think, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? What are you doing? Do you know what I
the
mean?
funny thing is, talking about this, I've just come off for 4 days.
He's feeling really.
You're making me worse now.
PTSD's coming up.
He's like, oh no. Like, yeah, you have a good look at yourself. I'm glad we got him in here today.
No, but I am getting to that age where it's the same old stuff. But
I mean, it's
fun when you're there, but
if you got kids and the responsibility, you ain't got kids yet or anything. I'm not saying that's not a right time to do it just because you have kids or whatever. But when you have kids, you do open your eyes to stuff in a different way and look at life in a different way and think to yourself, well, hang on a minute. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So if you spoke to like the two of them are my cousins from different sides of the family, but they were both there, and one of them was 19 and one of them was 20. Now, if you talk to them about that night, they'll have it in a totally different light. Like they're like, that was the next day. They're like, that was such a great night, and I'm waking up in like some horrible state, thinking I've ruined my whole life. And they're like, how good was yesterday? And I just remember when I was 19, 20, like it was great. And I don't try and I never really preach about it. I've had a few people message me like, oh, I'm 20 years old, stop telling everyone to stop drinking. I'm not telling you.
No.
I'm telling you how I did it if you want to do it. But if you're asking me if you're 19, 20, should you stop drinking? It's an absolute no, because that was some of the best times.
Good years.
Like, they were really good. And I
just
feel like
different stages in
it
your life.
brought me out. And like you just said with kids, I actually had a kid when I was 23 and I was still drinking and being a mess till I was 30. And I've done a lot wrong for her. Like I was never, if you look at what the life she had when she was 2 or 3 years old to the life my kids have got now, I'm so much more present with them. And she's 10 now. And the relationship I've got with her now, because I was spending all my time at work because I just believed that you have to work 7 days a week and every hour of every day to try and make the business work, which I now know is ridiculous because I was so tired all the time that everything was half-assed. But because I was doing that, by the time it was coming around to I was allowed to go out or I wanted to go out, I was out all day Saturday, on the sofa all day Sunday, and then straight back at work.
Yeah.
So, and the thought of going to the park or swimming with the kids is just like, they were so low down on my sort of priorities list. Like and at the time I thought I was a good dad because I'm bringing in the money and I'm paying for everything.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's really now when I look at myself now,
it's the
I'm like,
quality time that you spend.
and
isn't
now
it?
I love it. I go I take them on my own. I never would have done it before. I just take all 3 kids out on my own and go for a walk. And I just looking at them, it's just so much different.
It's good that you recognise that though. It is good that you recognise that. But at the same time, I mean, you've put yourself in that position where you've improved your life, and so you're able to do that now. But I always say this thing as well, where I know a lot of people would love to be at home with their kids like 7 days a week, but at the same time, some of them just can't. That some people do have to work 7 days a week because they might be in some sort of like, I don't know, financial difficulty. They might have come back from illness. Do you know what I mean? So everyone's situation is different, but that's great because, like you say, you've recognised from back then when you were 23 that you wasn't particularly present and that, but you are now, so that's good, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To recognise that and actually admit it is fucking brilliant.
It took a lot to go. I've done so much. I've never done like any counselling. Well, I did actually. That's a lie. When I was younger, I did, but since then, since like on this sort of where I'm at now, I've never done that. But I've listened to so many like, podcasts and books and things like that, and picked out so many little bits of information. And I always found I had a proper closed mind before. I was like, no, that won't work for like the weight loss. I think that's what opened it up for me. That was like the gateway for me to do all of this stuff, because once I always just thought I was just going to be massive forever.
So did that go hand in hand with the sobriety?
No,
or was that...
I did the weight loss first. That was it in lockdown. So what's that, 2020? Did the weight loss first, lost about 6 stone before I even stopped drinking. And then because I did that, I was like, oh, I could probably
Change your mindset,
do. And the more energy I got from the weight loss stuff, because I started eating better and being more active, and then I got more energy. And then I realised, oh, I'm actually doing better at work than I was. Even though I've taken an hour out of my day to go for a walk or to go to the gym, I'm getting more productive at work because, okay, I've lost an hour maybe, but now I'm there and I'm more energy and all that stuff. So then it's sort of like I got that and I got all the energy and I'm like, oh, what can I do next? Like, how do I... Because you're sort of like your base level sets again. So I'm like, oh, this is who I am now. How do I get better again? And then I was like, oh, I'll just take the drink out. And then I actually tried to take drugs out first, and I failed every single time I was drinking, or most times.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll just cut that off. And now I'm like, oh, I've done the drink, done the drugs, done the weight. So I'm like, oh, I'm just going to attack my confidence. So I've just been throwing myself into things like this. And it's just like, you just make all these little incremental, you get better every time. I don't know what I was going to say there, but like little differences. And it's infectious, I think. And it's like a belief now that I think, oh, I could definitely do that. So now I've just been attaching that and trying to teach that to other people as well along the way, because if I look back where I was 3 years ago, I didn't believe anything was possible for me, whereas now I just think anything is. So it's unlocking that and letting people know that no, I was actually that person. That's why I always post who I was before, because everyone always says, oh, but it's easy for you. No, it wasn't easy for me. It's easy for me. Oh, it's not easy now, but that would be easy now because I know how I did it. But it wasn't easy for me. Like, you're no different to where I was. If anything, I might have even been worse. But it's
to
hard
cut
for people
out
to learn
drink
that.
is not that easy. Like, especially like the circle you're in and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
get stuck in that.
It's not just about just giving up the drink, is it? It's
No,
your
it's
actual
your
social
friendship
environment.
group.
It's everyone. Like family as well. Like my whole family, with my dad, I've got a great relationship with my dad. But I don't see him. I used to see him every week, but in the pub. And now I don't see him hardly in. Like, we have to remember to go and see him now every couple of months. And I was seeing him every week. But it's him and my uncles and all of my friends. Like, I've probably got 2 friends left out of all of the friends I had before. I used to go football every week, and I had a massive circle of friends. And now I realise they're not really my friends. They like football, and I liked football.
Yeah.
And now
That's what you realise when you're in like a sports environment. Yeah, because I play rugby and I'm slowly realising, I have friends there, but the ones that are actually true friends is not that many.
Yeah, they
you
like
just
rugby.
go there, you just see them at rugby, and you drink.
Acquaintances, isn't they? Yeah. But at the time, when you were out on the piss,
it's great.
getting bollocks with them, they're your best mate.
Well,
in
the
the
thing
world,
is, if
isn't
you
they?
want to stay out till 4 o'clock in the morning and be a mess, you've got to find people that want to stay out till 4 o'clock in the morning and be a mess, because otherwise you're on your own. So that was my whole entire people. And then once I was like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore, I took around and I thought, I don't have anybody. And I think you do have to do that. Like, I did have to go on my own for maybe 6 months and just, I think that's why it's tough, because you have to just, I don't think there's any other way to do it, because you're not just going to find a new group of people and be like, hey, I don't drink anymore. Can I be a friend?
Did you stop football because of that?
I stopped everything, like literally.
To get out of that
because I
circle.
couldn't stop it otherwise. I couldn't get out of the circle. So I was just like, I stopped all of it, and I dove headfirst into, I'd say, personal development as a thing, really. Just as many. I got addicted to walking. I think that's what it was. And the more I was walking, the more I was listening to stuff, and then found myself wanting to walk more, because I can't read. I can read. I can't sit there and read a book. It's just I can't do it as a process. So the only time I can continue to listen to books is if I'm ever moving, because I've got kids. I can't sit in the front room with AirPods on listening to a book. So I just found myself walking for further so I could listen to my book. And then that makes you walk
2
longer.
birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, and then it's just, that's what actually happened. And that's what I was doing. And then because I was doing that, you're right to do that on your own, because I thought like I had friends, because I've got a podcast in my ear. And like you say, with Stephen Bartlett's one, I've done all of his one, and Chris Williamson's, and a load of other people. But you start to feel like, I was like, they're my circle of friends now. I've got like this online group of friends that don't know who I am, but you sort of got influenced by that. So that's how I did it, really. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm ready to come back out into the world. And now I can go and see people, and I'll drink alcohol-free beers and things like
that's
that.
what I was going to say. Like,
Yeah,
can you go back to that old circle and be around? Yeah,
I still do. So like my dad and that are still out most weekends. So if I want to go and see them, but now I'll go and see them for 3 or 4 hours, have a few of them, and then when they start annoying me, I'll just drive home again. It's great,
yeah.
I'm like, and at the point, I think when you're at that point, if I was in that with them drinking, after 5 or 6 beers, I don't think there's anything happening that you're either going to remember or that you're going to enjoy more than what you've done. I think the first 4 hours is the best bit anyway, because everyone's excited.
You go past that point, getting too drunk.
It doesn't matter, And then I go home, and I've been going home at like 7 o'clock. I'm like, I've still got the whole evening. I try and get to bed by 10 o'clock as well. Give myself like a bedtime now. So at 10 o'clock, my phone sends the alarm to like go to bed. And that's really helped as well, because I used to just be up scrolling on my phone for no reason. And now I get up at 5 instead and go for a walk or go to the gym or do something productive in the morning. So I've sort of nicked a bit of time from the end of the day where I was doing nothing but scrolling and put it at the beginning. So yeah, it's all these little things that I just ticked off as I was going, and it's like a blueprint to getting better.
So nice. It's good, mate. It's,
You need to get on, Pete.
yeah.
I see you on the crackers.
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm switching.
I can't help it. I need to get off.
Just
the old
flicking
food.
that switch, isn't it? And
It's just like you can. Yeah, I know where I have to make improvements. Like number one of them is scrolling as well, because I'm guilty of that. I openly admit that, and just eating crap is.
I think as soon as you start training, it changes your mindset. Like I'm the same. If I don't train, I eat shit.
Yeah.
Like, I have to train, and it just puts me in that.
Yeah,
I mean, as well, if you train when you haven't eaten well, it hurts. doesn't
Yeah.
it?
But I think getting it done in the morning is the best time. 'Cause come the evening, you can't be asked to go. So you're more inclined to say, I'm not going to go tonight, I'll go tomorrow. But if you just get up in the morning and go.
maybe I'll just try and start walking.
But
Like
not
you say.
everyone likes training, that's the problem.
I hate it. I really do hate it.
Yeah, so if you don't like it, it's even harder to get yourself there.
Like you say, there's always a reason. Something can always happen.
Yeah.
Especially if you're at work all day, there's always something that can make you late or give you the ump, or the kids could need something after school. There's always something. That's why, saying about nicking that hour, I just put it in the morning and I've got no choice. I'm like, that's done and it's out of the way. And I just find that easier. It's always helped me. But do you know what? I haven't actually lost any weight for about a year now. I've just been exactly the same because I took my focus off of it, and I'm not really doing any of the things that I was doing to lose weight, which is fine because I've changed my diet anyway, and I've already got the habits of walking and training and stuff like that. So I've been happy as I am. But if I wanted to, then I would have to bring all that stuff back in because I don't like track. That's how I did it, was tracking calories and protein and all things like that. And I don't do that anymore. But if I wanted to, then that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But I'm focusing on other stuff. But because I've put that stuff in place, I haven't gained any weight. I don't really weigh that often. I was weighing every single day when I was doing it. And now every now and then I'll have a look and I'm like, maybe I can feel my clothes getting a bit tight or whatever. And then I just go into a little phase and then that's it.
Hello, you wonderful listeners and watchers. Just pumping the brakes on this exciting episode to let you know about Keiran's app that's changing the game in the gas certificate world.
If you're sick and tired of doing gas certificates on paper, then Gas Certificate app is your way forward. But it wouldn't be an app worth talking about if that's it. With no hassle, you can manage your diaries, invoices and quotes for all your jobs, so you'll never be chasing paperwork again.
Don't forget those boiler manuals. I can tell you how many times I've been looking at a boiler and thinking, what the? Thankfully, the in-app boiler manuals have saved me and got me out of quite the pinch.
If it's helped Pete here, then Gas Certificate app will definitely help you, especially with its easy-to-use gas reg calculator and the extremely handy ability to duplicate certs. Brilliant for when you're doing your annual services on previous jobs.
And for the icing on the cake, it has a complete offline mode. So if you're on a job in the middle of nowhere or servicing a boiler in the basement of a building with no signal, you've still got access to everything the app has to offer to keep you working hard.
So click the link down below or in the description. Use the code POD30 to get 30% off yearly subscriptions. That's for all new users. That's POD30 for 30% off our yearly subscriptions for new users.
I think as long as you're happy, that's the main
Just
thing.
discipline, innit? At the end of the day, that's what it all boils down to. Discipline. I've not got a lot of discipline. That's what one thing that I suffer with is discipline.
You lost a lot of weight actually. I think it was like 2 installers shows ago.
I did because I was
got
training.
down.
I was training and I was eating better. So I am capable of doing it, but it's just putting that discipline.
It's a
in.
constant yo-yo
Like, the
effect,
older
innit?
you
I've
get,
always
though,
been up
I'm
and
not
down.
just making excuses. The older you get, like every day now, my back and my knees. When I go on a journey longer than an hour, if I drive here, I get out of the van and I'm stiff. My knees are absolutely knackered. But I think that's a lot of it is to do with his diet as well, because of inflammation. I think the crap you eat, it don't help with the inflammation, does it? What I'm seeing across the internet at the moment with certain individuals saying and preaching, and you know that I think it's true what they say.
You'd be surprised what's actually in food.
Yeah, which doesn't do your body any good whatsoever.
But I think training strengthens your body as well.
Well, it does, obviously, yeah.
So I had, obviously, being at work all the time, my biggest issue was what you can get while you're at work, because I never used to take lunch. That's one of the things I've started doing.
That's the main thing,
They've made it so easy with, like, drive-thrus and stuff. Like, if there's a drive-thru McDonald's on your way from job to job, it's so easy just to, because you don't have to get out, you can just go straight in
start
there.
them off now or something.
This is what I was saying to him the other week.
They
But
do
why
salads.
can't? But why can't? But why can't they have like a health food drive-through? Why can't they make that easy for us?
Someone would use it,
Why
it's
not? Why? But
It's,
then, with the amount of preaching going on at the moment, people looking at trying to lose weight and that, you'd think it would hopefully take off. Do you know what I mean? Because people, don't want to spend the time or the effort on prepping, do they? A lot of it.
I think there's a food chain out there missing out.
Yeah,
If they done a healthy option drive.
I think they must. I don't think we're the first ones to think of it. So
No.
I think they must have done some research on it. So and that's what I was saying. It's so easy to just eat.
I'm going to a McDonald's after this.
But you have to be committed enough to prep it in advance. Like, if I don't take lunch, I'm in trouble that day because.
Yeah.
If I go into it, and this is my argument for drive-through sometimes, because like on the way here just now, I wanted a coffee and I went to the McDonald's drive-through and got a coffee.
It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, if I would have gone into McDonald's and smelled the sausage egg McMuffin, I would have probably bought one. Because I'm on a drive-through, I can just go, don't look at anything, just go coffee.
Mate. I'd have smelled that out from the
just don't-
drive-through
just
still.
do it.
All the menus just looking at you.
But that was one of the biggest problems I had with being so busy at work all the time and not even prioritising eating. I'm just like, oh, we'll just eat. Or like not eating all day and getting to like 3-4 o'clock when we finish and then going to McDonald's and eating everything because we're so hungry. So I think I really struggled with that. And having the boys that I'm working with on site who are not eating healthy as well. So they're constantly going to the cafe.
Again, yeah, social.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the biggest changes I made is to take lunch with me. And then not always a great lunch either. Sometimes I will take like a kids pack lunch if that's all we've got in the thing. But you're still better off doing that because I know what I'm going to have. And it's going in. I've got zero willpower, like literally none. And if I go into a cafe with an intention to order a salad, I'm not having a salad. I'm having the biggest breakfast that they've got.
Yeah.
So I just took that away from it. So if I've got lunch with me, then I won't go. And I won't even go in with the boys to get a tea or nothing because I know how bad I am. Now, I don't live like that in a minute because I'm not trying to lose weight, but that's how I did it, was to take lunch with me and just make sure, like, I'm not wearing, that's how you can always tell I'm not trying to lose weight because I haven't got a fitness tracker on. And just tracking the amount of steps I was moving daily and taking lunch with me is all I really did. I didn't really do anything that's that extravagant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. People overcomplicate it, don't
Yeah,
they?
and it ain't complicated. It's just doing it for a long enough time. Like everyone tries to overcomplicate it. And when I try and tell people that that's what I did, they're like, yeah, but what did you actually? I'm like, no, that's what I did. That's what I did. I took lunch with me and I walked every day. And they're like, yeah,
People do it for a week, didn't they? Then they.
it doesn't work for me. That's what everyone always says. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so I have to get my before photos out. I'm like,
Did you do them? Did you do them earlier on? Like, did you? You know when people do that timeline?
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
And mine goes massive, not massive.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, didn't they?
I didn't have many photos of me when I was that big, surprisingly, because I didn't really like having photos taken of me. So I actually took before photos about a month into me losing weight because I didn't actually think I was going to stick to losing weight. And then when I started making progress, I was like, oh, I should probably take some photos. And I'm glad I did now.
It keeps you accountable when you post this stuff.
When you look back, like I've got, so I haven't got a timeline, but I've got like 3 different things of me. So I was like, oh, this is an after photo. And now when I look at that after photo, I'm like, Jesus. And I was so happy at that time, like I got to that size. But now I'm looking, I'm like, bloody hell, I wouldn't like to go back to just that point.
Yeah.
And then I've got another one and another one. So I have kind of got that. But yeah, I'm happy I took photos because I've helped people before and they're like, I don't want to take photos. I'm like, just take them for you. Like, I don't have to show them to anyone, but it will really help, especially when you start thinking you're not making progress, and then you can go, oh, I actually am when you look at the photos. So they do help as well, and I'm happy that I did them back then.
But was everyone like when you did that? Was like everyone sort of like they knew you was going through that stuff? Was they a lot of support for you? Was it or was
no, not really. A lot of negativity, I would say. People just don't think. Like even when I started losing weight, so I did it with 2 of my uncles, and I think my uncle was 23 stone when we started doing it. He's 50 now. He must have been like
50 stone?
No.
Went the wrong way for him.
But he beat me down to 17. We had a race down to 17 stone, and he beat me. And he stopped, and he's gone all the way back up again now. But at the time, other people were just, they're not being negative, but they're like, no, you can't. Same when I stopped saying I'm not going to drink anymore. Like, you won't know. I'm like, yeah, but I want, yeah, but you won't be able to do it. And I'm like, it's just, but that sort of just made me go, like, I am going to do it. So it helps me, but it doesn't help everyone. Like some people don't have that in them. For me, I was just like, no, it's fine. I'll show you. But other people don't. So I feel like not having the support would have, I don't know I don't think it would have helped me really, but it does help other people, which is why I just try and share so many things, as many as I can to just show. But that's why I'm not like, this is what I do, this is what I'm like, that's what I did. Because I'm not really doing it at the minute, so it's not really a thing I'm talking about. I always talk about stuff like I'm doing at the time. So like that's why I'm now focused so much on the comedy side of the reels, because that's kind of that's where my brain is, and that's what I see now. Like you said earlier, when you're trying to be a comedian, I now see something. I'm like, oh, that's like people are scared to talk around me now.
Pete
I'm
tries
like,
to be
boom,
one.
That's in the video.
Well,
Said you tried to be one, didn't you?
yeah, I try. Yeah.
But I do think it's mad how when I look back at what I looked like then, I was getting some big contracts and working on some big sites and with a lot of people. And I look now and I was like, I've spoken to people since and like, yeah, you was always sweating and always a mess and always tired and breathing. I'm like, if I wasn't that size then, I could have probably done a lot more than what I did now because I was still able to get these things. And I don't even know how, to be honest, because I was just a mess across my whole life. And I felt like I was running a successful business, but really I wasn't. I was just paying the bills. And I probably had a lot of opportunities that I wasted because I was just knackered all the time and had no energy.
Yeah,
so.
but the thing is, like, that's sort of like opened this up for you now, though, innit? I say you can't. People say never have any regrets because you're here because of that.
Yeah.
Innit? Do you know what I mean? You've gone through that process, and now you're doing what you're doing. If you had have been whatever, you wouldn't have had that thing to go off.
I
of.
wouldn't take it back, definitely not, because that's my story.
It's part of your
such, isn't it?
Again, it's a part of your like why you're here now, innit?
So do you help people individually, or would you want to do that? Or
So I have been. I started off just helping friends because, like I say, I was doing it with my uncle, and everyone was like, when you lose that amount of weight, I was getting random messages of people I haven't seen for years, like, how did you do it? And everyone's after a secret, and there isn't one. So I was just helping people, and then I run 3 coaching programs over the last sort of 6 months on 1-to-1, and then I've got a group one at the minute. So I am doing it, and I really do enjoy helping people. What I don't enjoy is helping people that don't want to be helped.
That don't commit.
And that's what I struggle with most of the coaching is that I know you can get people results, but that's not what, like I say, weight loss is easy, and that's not what actually everyone thinks. Oh yeah, but it's so easy to lose weight, and that's not what you're coaching. You're coaching. It's more mindset coaching than anything else, and it's giving people the belief. And that's why, like you just said, if I hadn't been through it, then I don't think I'd be able to relate because I probably faced every single problem that you're going to face along the way of trying to get through it. So yeah, I do really enjoy doing it, and that's what I spend a lot of time doing now is the coaching and the reels and stuff. But I always get dragged back into the construction business and the reactive maintenance. And I do like it. Do you know what I mean? I do enjoy doing that, and I like being out on site. And when I stepped back for a few months, I was bored, massively bored, and I was like just seeing numbers on the screen and emails and things like that, and I didn't like it. So yeah, I enjoy all of it. I don't really know what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? I just
Did you jump into that?
You're just living in the moment.
Did you jump into that from school, like the building?
Yeah. So I was 15, I think. My dad's mate offered me a week's work in the summer, and I did that, and then I stayed there for the 6 weeks holiday, and then I never really went back to school properly after that, which I regret now because I feel like if I put myself into anything, I would have been good at any of it, and I chose to do it in the building trade, which is fine, but I never really got a trade because he was an underpinner, so we'd underpin the house and then put it all back together. So we did a bit of everything. And then, I just stayed in there from then. But I always felt like I wanted to do something different, always.
Did you feel, at school, was you creative? Did you like drama? Did you like any sort of acting type
I just didn't know that until now. But when I look back, I did
same
that.
Here.
Yeah. And
same
here. And I feel like because of where I grew up and what I was put into and the environment I was in, that's where I was.
Yeah, you sort of like, again, it was that confidence thing. I've said it before because I always want to do some sort of performance stuff sort of thing, but because of where I was from and my social like circles, I was always thinking, I don't know if they're going to think. Do you know, I thought what other people thought. Do you know what I mean? And my confidence wasn't great as what it is now. So I sort of like sat back, and it's only since like when I got married, and my wife was more open to it and that, and I sort of like went down that road of like, oh fuck, do you know what? I might join an agency. I might like go for a casting or something for an advert or whatever, and then as you progress and move on and your confidence grows and you think, actually, I don't give a shit really what anybody thinks anymore. Opens up so many more avenues for you, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it does. I got thrown out of all the WhatsApp groups that I was in. When I started posting videos online, I was getting so much shit for it.
I was going to ask you that as well.
I was just getting so much shit. And all I was trying to do is just help people make their lives a bit better. And I thought, if I can do that, and I was getting messages at the time, I weren't getting a lot of views, but that's all I was trying to do. And I was like, I don't really care. Like, I'd taken myself away from the pub environment anyway, so I was like, I don't really care whether you like me or not anymore. To be honest, I haven't seen you in 6 months anyway, so take me out of WhatsApp groups. I don't care. And
that just shows you, though, doesn't it?
yeah,
Who,
and I
like,
was
your
just like,
friends
and I was
are.
getting shit off people like, stop telling people like you think you're better than everyone else and blah blah. And I was like, I don't think I'm better than anyone else. I'm just saying I'm better than me. I'm better than where I was. And if other people are coming to me and asking me how I did that, then I help them. I said the only person with a problem is you. You think I'm better than you. That's what the issue is here.
Yeah.
So yeah, and once, like you say, once I started doing that, and I was just like took that element away, because I've never really cared what people think anyway. It's just people cared what I think about what I think. So if I didn't care about something, then and I didn't care if other people didn't care. But with that, like you say, I was probably judging other people that were doing videos and things like that. And then the more I sort of got inspired by other people doing it, I was like, why? Like you said with comedians like Mickey Flanagan, no one's giving him shit for putting videos up of him being funny, and they're all relating to him. And I was like, that's no different. I just want to help people, so I'm just going to do it and make people's day better with comedy or weight loss or sobriety or whatever it is I'm doing. So.
But you'll always find the people closest to you are your biggest like critics and that as well. Do you know what I mean? And I've always said this, and I say it again. It's like when we do social media and that, right? And we'll put out our videos, etc. The people that you know and closest won't share it. Do you know what I mean? Like, but they'll share some other shit, like on the WhatsApp groups and that from something just shit, absolute shit. And you think to yourself, you're sharing someone who you don't even know stuff, but you're not supporting like what I do, which I can't really normally. I can't get my head around that.
It's a weird thing. I don't know if it's not jealousy. I don't think, but it's kind of like what I saw from me is that people don't want it to work because they're like, you can't be that person. So when I was saying before about me losing weight, I didn't think I could be that person. And now when I look at other people with massive followings on social media with weight loss or with comedy or whatever, I always thought, I can't be that. And then when my videos started doing well, I'm like, maybe like I can actually do that. And people like, no, that can't be you. And it's amazing the amount of people now, like I'm starting to get a following and I'm starting to get millions of views on thing. The amount of people that are now coming back and they're like, oh, that's one of my friends. I'm like, no. Like, we wasn't friends yesterday. Like, don't start coming back to that. And because it's now, like, they're trying to unjustify it, but now it's the consensus is it's justified. They're like, oh yeah, you can actually do it. No, it's too late for that now, mate. Like, I don't want to be in the WhatsApp group, so I'm quite happy.
And then it'll be, oh yeah, now he's up his own arse because he's got a bit of a foot. No.
I've never cared what they thought, and now I still don't care what they think. Like you say, people do now. I don't care. I'll just be me, and I don't really care how that comes across now because I know that there's enough people out there that it's helping.
Yeah,
like, I get more messages that are positive saying thank you than I do that negative. Not like I don't get the negative ones because you do. You just random people just want to call you a prick and things like that, which I also don't really care about either. Like the things that I grew up with and the people that I surrounded myself with, and they think they're gonna bother me by calling me fat or bald on social media. Like they're gonna have to try a lot harder than that. Like from where I grew up, it's just it's not a thing, and it does make me laugh. Like if you happy with yourself, like I've never once been having a really good day and thought, I'm going to go on social media and just give random people shit, because you're not having a great day, and that's why it doesn't bother me, because I'm like, it's not about me, it's about them. They're not having a great time. And then the positive side of that is I get messages of people saying thank you, and then it makes me, and then I'm like, oh, it is actually helping people, because the amount of people that said to me, can you stop sharing fat loss stuff, I just want to see funny reels. I'm like, no, go and watch funny reels somewhere else. I've been blocking people now. If someone says, oh, I don't want to see the fat loss stuff, I only want to see the funny stuff, I'm like, right, you're not seeing any of it now. Like, you don't deserve my funny stuff if you can't
Fair enough,
take the other stuff. But that's what I've been doing.
You've spoiled it for yourself.
You see nothing. And restricting, I didn't know you could restrict people from so I've now restricted loads of people that are just giving me hate, and they can keep commenting, but no one else can see it. So I'm getting one guy that every single day just puts horrible comments on. Like, no one can see it, mate. Like, no one's liking it because no one can see it. And now I get a lot of
and they
enjoyment
don't know this,
that.
do
and
they?
they don't know. They think they're being horrible, and I'm like, it's only me and you that can see this, mate, and it ain't bothering me. So and it's the amount of people that have said to me, I actually followed you for the funny tradesman reels, but I've seen the sobriety thing and I haven't drunk for a month now thanks to this reel. And I'm like, that is why I'm doing it.
That is why you're doing it.
So everyone keeps saying, are you doing comedy or are you doing thing? I'm like, I'm doing both.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. And you can't. You have to pick. I'm like, I don't have to pick.
That's it.
I haven't picked so far.
It's your page. You do what the fuck you want.
And I'm not picking. And if the comedy stuff means that more people see the fat loss stuff or the sobriety stuff, then I'm winning as far as I'm concerned. So
do you mix it up sort of each week sort of thing?
I've put fat loss stuff in there as it's dripping through, but I haven't actually made many new fat loss reels because I'm just enjoying the other stuff, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I've only got a certain amount of time, so. But I'm sharing the stuff from before, because I've been making videos for 9 months that no one's seen. So I've got 150 videos that only 300 people have seen. So I'm just putting them up.
Yeah.
And like now I've got a following there and engagement with like a little community. The ones that I was putting up before are getting 300 or 400 views are now getting hundreds of thousands of views. And it's all I'm doing is putting that same video up now.
Yeah.
And people are seeing it because they've built up a relationship with me.
Right. Oh, so
And-
you put it up before on
Yeah.
Insta, and then you're putting it up again.
The
You're
same
resharing.
video,
Right.
literally the same video. I've done nothing to the video, just taken it from before.
Maybe I'll do that.
It works because people are not buying into what you're saying. They're buying into you. They're relating to me and the journey I've been on. And now that I've done that, they're like, "Oh, how did you do it?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is what I did. This is what I did."
Yeah. I did do that. I've had done that actually. I've gone through a load of my story archives and had a look and actually probably like shared them as reels instead of like stories from like a couple of years ago, and then just put I'll make that into a reel. Just put it as a reel sort of thing. Seems to they do all right, didn't they? But no, I just I love it when I see your stuff come up. I think to myself, this geezer's gonna be big. He's gonna. That's why I said, let's get him. And you was like, who's Dr. Robinson? And I was like, he's a doctor, and he does this fat loss thing, and he's funny. And you were like, what?
I don't really go.
You don't
I'm on
do it.
social media, but I don't do like social
Do I?
media.
Don't tell anybody.
It's probably the best way to be, though, isn't it? Because it's an
get-
addictive trait, isn't it?
get stuck.
That's the thing.
The way that they get me is if I'm uploading a video and they're like, "Oh, you have to stay on Instagram while you're waiting for it to upload,"
Innit?
and I'm like, "Oh." Now watching that plumber guy rant at me again for no reason. But no, I get stuck on it. But I don't. There's a few people that I follow for stuff that I actually enjoy, but I try not to scroll. I've got things set on my phone now, so if you're on it for more than 15 minutes, it says, "Hey, are you still interested
I've
in
got
doing
to put
this?"
that back on my phone.
It's
because
like anything. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just having a balance in your time.
It's the I think again it's boredom.
Yeah.
It's that same old back to that boredom thing. If you can do something else for an hour instead of scrolling on Instagram and be active in that, then
What I notice I do when I'm watching TV, as soon as the advert comes on,
Phone.
you pick your phone up, didn't you?
Yeah.
Straight
I'm
away.
so conscious of it now because my 5-year-old's always on her iPad on. She's not allowed it in the week anymore because she's like that.
Yeah.
So in the week we don't let her have it, so that she's reading or
well, the thing
writing
is,
and
like,
stuff.
you'll go to restaurants and that, and you'll see these kids, and it's the easiest
Just to
thing
keep them
for,
occupied, yeah.
Yeah, I have the iPad sort of thing, and you think, my kids never had iPads in restaurants, like never, because we just looked at him. It's just like, really,
Yeah.
like they can't sit
It's 'cause
still.
it's so easy, isn't it? Just to put 'em
But
there.
even what, because it's so easy for the parent, he doesn't want to like keep correcting them or whatever they want to be. Nah, mate, because after you just put in the hard work, like
Yeah.
for a while with them, they know that they got to sit there and behave in it.
That's quality time that you can spend with them and
Well,
talk
if you
to
take it
them.
away, like you just said, as soon as the advert goes on, you pick your phone up.
Yeah.
So look, she doesn't have the iPad Monday to Friday, and then on the weekend she's not used to it, so she doesn't. But because I sort of done that with her, now if I pick my phone up, she's like, "You're on the phone again," and then because like it's in her thing, so it's so quick. I'm the same when I'm doing absolutely anything. As soon as there's a slightest little bit of boredom, you're boom and you're on it. So it is difficult to stop it. But I mean, I don't know. I went through a period of thinking, I wish there was no social media, and I wish there was no like this new thing we've got. But then I was looking at the positive side of it. It's like I spent so much time listening to audiobooks and podcasts and stuff. Like, so there's probably had a net positive effect on my life. But I try now. I have actually got another phone which I haven't set up yet, which has just got Spotify and Audible on it and no social media. So I try and now take that with me if I'm going out with the kids, because I like to have the phone on me in case anything goes wrong. But without fail now, if I go anywhere with the kids, I'm like, just check my Instagram and see. So now I've got a phone which I should be setting up this week. Hopefully, I'm just waiting for the case to be sorted. That hasn't got any of that on there. So if I go out with the kids, I've still got a phone, but I haven't got any of the access to social media. And I think that's going to help, hopefully.
Because I suppose when your social media grows as well, like I've been watching the podcast, I don't look as much now, but the notifications, you end up looking like who's followed you and like comments, you get trapped into
I
that.
spend more time looking at my own videos and my own comments than anything else.
Yeah.
And it is. So at first I was like, I'm getting a load of views. And then you turn the likes off because they get annoying. And then I was like, I'll just keep the comments on. And then they get annoying because you're getting so many. And it's like trying to, obviously you want the comments and things like that, but a lot of them are just laughing faces or the same thing. So it just gets flooded. And now I've had to turn all of it off because it's weird because you spend so much time trying to chase that, and then when it gets too much, it
comes
comes
to
on
the
top. So yeah, it is difficult, and I do spend most of my time replying to comments and talking to people on my own stuff. So it's hard not to do that when you're trying to build an audience.
Well, it's engagement, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's what they say, isn't it? That's the thing. How's your other half with it? Like when
So she hates it, to be honest. She didn't want me to do it in the beginning, but she got why I was doing it. And I've got such an addictive personality. Like, I've just replaced what I was doing before now with... sometimes I think she just wants me to stop trying to get better because I've been so addicted to that now.
Yeah.
And it's had a positive impact on everything else. But I just go into... Like, with the videos, if I'm editing a video, I'm halfway through it, I have to finish it. I can't not finish it. But I don't close that loop. Like, if we're halfway through doing it and then I have to take the kids on a school run or something, the whole time I'm on the school run, in my head I'm like, I haven't done that video, I haven't done it. But now we've figured that out, she knows if I close that loop, then I'm fine. So I'll just make sure that that's done, or whatever I'm doing that day is done before we go anywhere, and leave my phone at home, and that's how I'm solving it.
yeah.
But it is hard because she understands why I'm doing it, and like, it is important, and it's hard to see it as work because I've always just been someone that has to go out and do, like, I don't know, we're making good a ceiling or whatever it is we're doing. That's easy to attribute that to work or invoicing and stuff like that. When you're doing, like, replying to comments on social media, and although I'm not being paid for it yet, the point of this is to build me as a person and get me out there. At some point I would like to make it some sort of income.
Yeah.
That's part of it, like being engaging and putting videos up.
But you can see that.
Yeah.
You can see that focus, and I was sort of like the same as you in that respect, sort of thing. But it's just getting other people to understand that and why you're doing it, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Because it's not now. It's not immediate. Like,
Exactly.
if you go and bloody, I don't know what you're doing, put a tap in or something, you put the tap in, you're getting paid for it. Like, if this is something you need to be doing now for a year's
long
time.
term,
Yeah. Like, I've gone up like, my following's gone up, like, I don't know, I don't even know, about 5,000% in the last 2 months. It's literally just gone mad.
Through the roof, yeah.
And like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm getting loads of engagement and talking to stuff, but it's not like I could just go, oh, because everyone's like, oh, how much money are you earning from this? I'm like, nothing. I'm not earning a penny. Like, how are you not earning any money?
Yeah, it's
like,
not as easy what
it's
people
not,
think.
like, and also, like, I'll get loads of people trying to sponsor stuff and send me things like that, and I haven't taken any of it because that's not why I want to do it. People are like, oh, can you make a reel about this? I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to make my reels. And I've had people say, like, why are you not taking money? Because I'm not really doing it to earn money. I'm doing it to help people out there and just to make people laugh. And I enjoy it as well. So I'm seeing it as, like, training for me. I don't know where it's going, but it's like putting the work in now.
But you're putting yourself out there because, like you say, you've been already asked to do like some pilots, etc. That's putting yourself out there. That in that sense, that could lead to other doors opening for anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so you're doing it for that reason as well, I guess, isn't you? Because if you do get an opportunity, you're gonna take it at some point if it's the right opportunity for you.
That's what I'm saying. When people are like, "Oh, can you share this weight loss supplement, or can you wear these clothes in the video and things like that?" And I'm like, I don't want to. I'm not going to do it. So but that's a different opportunity. So I don't know. So what I do know is every opportunity I've ever had, usually in the building thing, like I've managed to put myself in rooms with some big companies and walk out of there with massive contracts. And I know that once I want to do that, I can do that. And I've took the contracts and we've done the work, and I know I can do that. I just always felt like I was in the wrong opportunities. Like, I didn't actually want to do that. And that's why I'm getting so good at making the videos with the characters, because they're not characters. They're just people that I've had work for me and worked alongside for so long. And that's what... so the contracts are like, they're council contracts, they're insurance contracts. So they're not the highest paying contracts. You're not on high end work, so you don't get high end people. Like, it's just that's where it's capped at. You have to have the lower end of it, and that's the people that you work with. And there isn't many people who are reliable and honest and trustworthy in that sort of sector. So it's just, I climbed up to that and got to 25 people, and I sat there and I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. There's too many problems. So the whole time I was driven to get to that point was fine. When I got to that point and I sat in my office and I had everyone out working for me, and my brother was in the office with me, my cousin was in the office with me, and I got to that point where I was trying to get to and I didn't enjoy it. I was like, why am I doing this now then? Why am I trying to get to? And I think the work side of it was the only thing I hadn't ticked off. Like I was saying earlier, I've done the drink, done the weight, done the drugs. And I was like, family life's fine. Like, I'm happy with that. Like, all you've really got left is where you spend most of your time, right, at work. So I just sort of had to reframe what I wanted from that, and I haven't reframed it into what I actually want yet. But yeah, doing stuff like this
in
is
that process.
well, this is what I enjoy. I enjoy coming to do stuff like this now, and I've done a few of these lately. But it's just obviously that's not an income, and eventually that might become an income. So I just have to keep staying in this and keep doing this until I actually figure out what it is that I want to do.
I guarantee, mate, it's gonna go for you. It's definitely gonna be something that you're gonna make an income without a shadow of a doubt. You can see it a mile off because
Just wait for them right opportunities, like you're saying.
It needs to feel right for me as well.
Yeah.
It has to feel
Got
right.
to relate to you and stuff like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've done some advertising for companies on my thing. Only one, to be fair. Won't mention them, but I'm not like you. I've been asked to do things. Do you know what I mean? And this, that, and the other. But like a lot of it ain't right, and I'm not just gonna jump on the quickest buck. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be right for you and believing in what somebody's giving you to show.
I think it's for me. So when if I'm following people and they're putting up videos and I don't know, they're tradesmen or they're just funny people or whatever, and then you see 3 weeks later they've got a following and then they're like, oh, come and buy my new treadmill, and immediately I'm like, you're not making videos that I'm interested in now because you're just trying to earn money, and that's why I haven't done it, because I don't want to do it. And also I'm not trying to build my construction business. So aligning with brands that are in the construction thing doesn't really help me right now, because it's not what I want to grow. I'm not really bothered about getting work clothes or tools or things like that, because I don't want them. I don't want to do that. So yeah, it's difficult for me, and I don't know where that line is for me, but I won't know until that opportunity comes along. For, like I said, the pilot TV things and stuff like that I've been offered, I've sort of followed up. The first one I said no, because I was like, that's not what I want to do. And then the more I keep doing this, the more I enjoy it. I'm talking to a couple of people at the minute, so I am interested in that, and that feels a bit more suited to me, because that isn't me trying to. I think it's what it comes down to, is trying to put out someone else's product. I think that's what it is. I've never really wanted to do that, because I feel like I'm being used to promote something that isn't aligned with me. So if it's my own thing, if I can go and do a TV pilot and things like that I've created, then I feel happy to start shouting about that. So yeah, and I also always worry, say you was to go out, I don't know, say Apple decided to sponsor you and you're having a chat on a podcast like this and you've said something that they don't like, and they go thump, and pull the sponsorship away, and then you've lost all of your income straight away. Whereas if I'm working for myself and I'm doing something myself and I'm selling it myself, you're like, you're a bit more secure, I think, because I've had companies tell me to take videos down. I've had to take down what we've done on site because it's got their site in the background or there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's just like, it got a bit like the legal things started to get involved and stuff like that. So I've had to take videos down, and it's just like, I don't want to be. I've never really had that. I've always worked for myself, and I want to be on my own, doing my own thing. And I just think branding and sponsorships, you're just sort of tied to their brand. Yeah, and I don't think there's any sort of money. I think there's no. I just don't think there is. I don't think there's anything that's going to make me want to make videos or do things that I don't want to do. So. Yeah, I don't know where that leads to, but we'll find out, hopefully.
Definitely.
Do you want to build like the coaching, or?
I do. I do want to do that.
But you're probably thinking it takes a lot of time up, doesn't it?
It does, but I enjoy it. The main thing with the coaching is the people that are in the program that are making progress. I love it, because but they're easy to coach. That's the problem. You spend more time trying to coach people that ain't being coached than you do the people that are actually following things that I'm saying. Because I've made like training videos and there's documents and stuff in there that can help people, and the people that watch them are fine, and the people, you try and get someone to watch a video that they don't want to watch, even if they're paid for it, they don't want to watch it. So, and I mean, that's just part of coaching. It's not something that you can change. If you're going to coach people, some people will pay thousands of pounds for a course that they're never going to do. So I enjoy helping people there, but I enjoy more helping people for free, which is just stupid as a business, because like obviously you're not making any money from it, but you're getting satisfaction out of it. That the fact that you are helping someone, in you, do you know what I mean? Like you're making a difference, and the money doesn't make no difference to that. Whether I've been paid to help you or not, it doesn't make any difference to the result. If you've got the result, people do normally get the result more if they're paid for it. But if somebody messaged me and like, I haven't had a drink for a month because I watched your video, that still feels the same to me as someone said, I've
Yeah.
paid you £1,000 and I haven't had a drink for a month. It
Yeah.
doesn't. The money doesn't matter, and that's why I'm still clinging on to the other side of the business, because it pays all the bills. Now, if I didn't have that, then would I be like, oh, I want to do this sponsorship deal because I've got to pay the rent, or I've got to
It might
pay.
be,
Yeah, I mean, that you've hit the
Everyone
nail
needs
on
to
the
live,
head there.
don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because you come from a different place, don't you?
times are hard as well at the moment, isn't they? People are doing what they have to do to get a bit of dough in.
Yeah, well, I actually got a £30,000 tax bill from HMRC yesterday for tax that I don't owe, which is it's stressing me out, because one of the companies I worked for them for a long time, and they've been so we started a limited company, and they didn't transfer the UTR number into the limited company when I sent them the thing, so they've effectively still been paying me into my business account, but through my old UTR number.
Oh,
We've only just figured this out. My accountant's just submitted the accounts, and he said they haven't been doing it properly, so I don't even know what that means now. But I've spoke to HMRC. They're like, oh, you got to do, I think it's 30,000 or something. I'm like, yeah, but you owe me 60 in the thing. And they're like, yeah, but we don't, because you haven't paid that. So the accountants are going backwards and forwards, but effectively they want me to pay 30 grand, and then they'll give me back the 70 once it's all gone through. And I'm like, I don't know about you, but I don't have like 30 grand laying around.
Mate, I ain't
to-
got
to
30
give you.
quid at the moment.
So I saw my accountant said, look, these are your options. You've basically got to pay it. And I said, well, I'm going to let you on a secret. I don't have 30 grand, so that can't be an option. But I don't know how it will work. So HMRC, they make it so confusing for no reason. Like, there's a bit of paper that says you owe me 70 grand. There's a bit of paper that says I owe you 30 grand. So the way I look at that, it's just going to be 40 grand. And
Do the
go our
deduction,
separate ways.
yeah.
But apparently it doesn't work like that. And now there's this confusion because I don't actually owe it. It's just the company that I've been working for has got it the wrong way around. So I'm hoping that that's just a thing they can go, that should be there, and it will get sorted. But in the meantime, I'm getting letters, 30 grand plus interest. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure that once that goes away, the interest should go away with it, but I don't know that. Like, that's what the accountants having to sort out. But what my accountant has said is just to pay the money. I'm like, right, okay, so
Got 30 grand, mate.
yeah, so I'll go and get the cash. So and that's the problem with running businesses. Obviously, that's the stuff, like the legality side of it. I hate it. I've never really enjoyed the actual business side of it and things like that. Like, I pay the accountant. I just think that that's their problem. But the thing is with the accountants is when this stuff all happens, they just go, "Oh, it's not my problem." Like,
You signed it.
Yeah, like, it's your thing.
No, but they should help.
Yeah, so they are help. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they've done anything wrong. They're going to sort it, hopefully. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you pay for the accountants. They're just like, it's your business. So yeah, it's stuff like that. And I've had so many kicks in the teeth over the years of people knocking me on jobs and things like that. And it just wears you down.
Construction
loads.
industry is not easy, is it?
No.
So you've done well to build a business, 25 people.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
And I actually walked away from just before I think the contract was worth almost £2 million. The contract that we had in front of us, it was like 150 grand a month, I think, for a year. And I was looking at it, and there hadn't been great payers up to this point. Like, there'd been a couple of like 50, 60 grand invoices that they paid half of and things like that. And they were like, no, every month you put the invoice in for the next month and blah, blah. And I was looking at the thing of like 150 grand. If they pay half of that, like they have been for the past 9 months, they've been doing that every time, they are paying it. But if I've got enough people to be doing that sort of turnover and they pay 75 instead of 150, I haven't got.
You're in trouble,
I haven't
mate.
got
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's ending. That's so I didn't sign it. But the problem is, especially when you was a little company like me, is that they know you're a little company and there's nothing you can do about it, and they're just sucking you into this little world. And I was like, I don't want to be in this world.
Because then alternatively, then when you go under, then they get that work all for free, don't they? Well, not for free, but they've only paid half price of what they should have paid for it. Yes, sick, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've had that a lot, especially because like the last thing that we do, like one of the main things, especially if that part of business is the decorating. And now, of course, they're the last people there. So when the bigger companies are starting to run out of money towards the end of the job, we're the people that get knocked all the time. Like, it's just, I've had it so many times with things, and it's just silly little things that you're getting knocked for that we all know mean nothing. Like, there's nothing there that you're thinking. I've had so many times where they're happy with the job and they're like, oh yeah, but we've run out of funding, or we can't do this, or we're going to pay it in installments. And I hate being paid in installments on the last thing over like a 12-month period. You might as well just not give it to me.
Yeah.
Because if you're paying 10 grand in installments, it's not worth it. It's like, it just gets lost in it. So
That's why it's good to not always. It's hard to find the diverse work, but not putting your eggs in all in one basket. Like you say, they can just pull the plug, and then it's over, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's what I struggled with most with that, because I sort of clawed my way to the top to get to, well, not to the top, but to a decent point. And then I looked around and thought, nope, this isn't really where I want to be, because everyone, when I spoke to the guys about it before, I said to them, like, I can't really afford to be, I think it was a 50 grand invoice and he paid half of it. And he was like, it's fine, I'll pay you the rest on Monday. And I was like, yeah, but I've got wages to pay. Like, my wage bill's like 30 grand now. Like, the 20 grand that's left is meant to go back into the business. I haven't got that to cover it. And he's like, yeah, well, when you're in these sort of contracts, you need to be able to take 30 grand hits. Oh, well, you didn't say that 3 weeks ago, mate. Like, you didn't say to me, oh, by the way, we might be knocking you 30 grand every now and then. Like, and he was like, yeah, well, now you're playing with the big boys. This is how we play. And I was like, I don't want to play that. Thank you.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. And
bad,
and the thing is as well, what I realised with these people, like, I was looking at the way they're running the companies. They've got hundreds of people working for them. And I'm looking at them thinking, they are no better than me. Like, the way that they're running this company is a joke. And that sort of made me think, I'm not going to get any different. Like, they're able to run these big companies and do that how they are. Like, why am I even trying to get into this? And I just didn't. It was a massive eye opener for me, because basically they had me. I had a desk in their offices, and they was like, "Just come in whenever you want to. We're going to give you this section to work from," and blah blah blah.
They tie you in,
giving me
more.
so much stuff, And then there was like, like vans and things like that. And in the end, I was like, "No, I don't want a van, thank you. I'm quite happy with my own one." And like, they made you feel like part of the team. And then you're not part of the team, and you know that they're just laughing and things like that. And when I said I didn't sign the contract, didn't want it. They were trying to get me like 3 weeks later, because they was like, this is the last day you've got to make a decision. I was like, yeah, no, I don't want it. And it's still 3 weeks later they're trying to get me to do it. So it just shows you they're just trying to get some other idiot to take on this work, and then it all comes down to you. So like, all of the problems were my problems, and I just thought, no, I'm quite happy.
No, I don't need it.
And since then,
probably the best move you made.
Well, I at the time it was so difficult. Do you know what I mean? It was really hard to turn that sort of money down. But my stress, as soon as I stopped, I drove home from there, and I was just felt lifted. I was like, oh, this. And I had to let some people go, but there was people that shouldn't be there anyway, so I didn't feel that bad at letting people go. And I'd sort of said to people, look, if you want me to take this work, I can't guarantee that I can pay for it, because this is where I'm at. I'm not a massive company. If they don't pay, I can't pay you. And they were like, oh, we don't want to do that then. I'm like, okay, so then we have to give the contract up now. Well, no, we don't want to do that. And I was paying every 2 weeks. Sorry. Every 2 weeks, and every second Thursday, I was spending all day with just anxiety levels, thinking, "Are they going to pay me? Are they going to pay me?" And then it's awful. And when you've got 25 guys waiting for money, it's not a nice situation.
But when I'm not anywhere near the scale of that, I'm one man band plumber, and if I've got a client and I've got to get my bills out on the Friday, just who I've got to pay, etc. If I've not been paid by that Thursday or Wednesday, I'm stressing and I'm in a bad mood, and that's just me. So thinking about having to look after 25 fellas is my fucking head would explode.
Yeah, it's making me feel like it now.
Yeah,
it's bringing their memories back.
Yeah, it's anxiety, isn't it? It's something you don't need. You don't need that in your life. That sort. No. Some people are built for it. Some people can take it on. People work off of stress all day long, every day, and that's how they work and move. But for people like me and you, that I don't think. It's not a bit of me.
I don't think that. So the people that were not paying me, they don't care. No, they're not. So for me, when
that's the bad thing, isn't it? They just don't
boys ringing
care.
up and like, I've got my kid's birthday this weekend, or I've got to pay the rent, or I've got a bailiff coming. Do you know what I mean? The people I'm working with, they haven't got a lot of money, so they're getting their wages, and I care. Right? I'm like, and I'm doing everything possible. But the companies that are not paying you don't care. They don't care whether you can. No. And I think that's the difference. And I care too much. So
that's it. You were not what they say.
Dickhead.
No. No, you're.
Because you get ruthless.
Ruthless, you're not ruthless. But them people, them companies, they're ruthless, and that's why they are where they are.
And that's what he told me. Basically, that's what he said. When you're going to be in with these crowds, that's what you got to be like. And then I was like, that's not for me. I've just never really. I know it sounds stupid because I've got a business, but I've never really chased money. It's just not really something that's. I like building up the business, and I like having my own business because I don't really like having too many. I don't know. I don't want to work for someone. Basically, I like to have my freedom. But it's never been about the money, so I've never really chased that, and it's probably held me back a lot. But it's just, and that's why this thing now, I think that's why I'm all right with the way it is, because I don't want to take a quick thing on the way up. Like, I'm intending to try and get to a point where I could earn money later, but right now I don't want to do it as I'm going.
You're sort of in control of your own destiny, aren't you?
That's how it feels like. I feel like, I'm ready to go.
That's it.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it. So
I think this has been a great podcast. It's just not. It's just been proper.
It's the least you spoke.
I know.
So I can literally.
If anyone can shut me up, mate, they're doing something right, isn't they? Do you know what I mean?
He's trying to get word.
I felt like Keiran. But no, it's been great, mate.
That's what I'm saying with the confidence. I've taken it over into this now, and I honestly think I could talk for about 6 hours now, and I need a couple of prompt questions here and there, and then I'm ready to go. So, and I think having these conversations is better for me as well, because I'm still installing that thing around when I'm talking to you guys about this. Like, if I was to speak to some of my mates and say the things I'm saying, they're not interested and not willing to talk, and saying it out loud and having more like confirmation that you're on the right sort of path, just helps as well. So the conversations help.
No, thanks for coming in, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
I look forward to seeing some more reels.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for you to sign up with him.
What?
I'm going to be waiting for you to sign up for him.
I never told him to say that, by the way. But no, thanks again, mate. It's been brilliant. Do you want to wrap this up then? Because you ain't really done a lot all day, have you? To be fair. Just been relying on me and Daryl, ain't you?
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on. So it went Dr. what?
No, it's not Doctor.
I think we're going to leave it as
D.
Dr.
Robinson.
D. Robinson Fat Loss.
That's it, yeah. So if you want to check out...
Is that my dyslexia kicking in when I read it?
Nice,
like that?
everybody. The amount of people that message me like Dr. Robinson. I'm like, it's kind of misleading, but I think I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
So it's like, gives me a bit of expertise in the thing, doesn't it?
Definitely.
And I'm not wearing a white coat on, I think. So it's,
Maybe you should.
just really lean into it.
I am. Yeah, proper.
No, but yeah, thank you for coming on. It's been great listening to your self belief and making yourself a better person, basically. It's good to see. But yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
All right, this has been another episode of Off the Job Podcast.
Thanks for watching the show on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and all other streaming platforms.
If it's your first time watching or not, make sure to subscribe below and follow us on all the big social media stuff like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
For our overtime show on Monday, send us in your stories and comments for it to be read out on the show. Send it in via email, direct message through our social media accounts, or WhatsApp us on 07457 406 259.
And we'll see you on the next episode.